No.
And that's the part that counts.
No one can hear you.
Well, they can now. And so, without further ado, welcome back to Technical Difficulty Stream, everyone, where we always experience our standard slew of technical difficulties, where I totally didn't just get done having this same exact speech before hitting the transition scene. That would just be ridiculous, and it's that sort of ridiculous nature and attitude that you will find as commonplace here at the Indoor Adventurer stream, where today we are going to pick up where we left off last week in a level 1 adventure in our homebrew campaign within the city of Shroudport, a port city that is built on the side of a cliff face. In our last episode, we were introduced to our heroes. Shadar Kai, Caelum, Dragonborn Blake, Gwen the Halfling, and of course, Cori the Eladrin. Each of you displayed a great feat of strength and courageousness as the bar that you were all in, the Zesty Anchor, fell victim to what seemed like a heist-style drugging. A mass drugging disguised as a keg opening, which surprisingly had gotten everybody but you for. Who designed this? That seems just really made up and not like it would happen at all. But that's totally fine because it did. It did happen. There was a heist that involved some paper mache wearing masked men who are all hurriedly dealt with except for a man wearing a tiefling mask who, upon revealing his face, was just a mid-20s, early 30s human man who said that crime was fun and he was just doing it because his boss told him to, who he then revealed the name of the Big Cheese. After you guys let him go, after he gave you some bottles of wine, you checked to make sure everybody was awake, to which you, or at least okay, to which you found that they were unconscious. You proceeded to then wait and help yourself to a little bit of whiskey behind the bar, while one retired adventurer, Fang Zest, awoke kind of groggily after having been drugged, and demanded that everybody else was to leave, that his tavern was closed for the night, and said that the four of you were to stay and answer some questions as you kind of explained to him that you were the only ones who actually saw what happened. And the scene starts off with everybody exiting the bar, including Caelum, your three friends, Prescott, Farron, and Mugwort, all exiting as they tell you where they'll be staying, which is just down the way, at just kind of just a shitty tavern, or not even a tavern. It's just like in like a hostel kind of place. Like they just needed a place to crash, and they know this place is typically good for like a one night stay. And so as you guys are all pulled in down this 3-tiered bar, down towards Fang's sitting area, where he kind of has the bar layout, the stage for where a bard was previously singing sea shanties, but now he's feeling a little seasick, as he also is leaving. He is also leaving, and you guys see the giant bipedal snapping tortoise, known as Huddle, coming from the back, who's also shuffling forward, and Fang just points at him and goes,
"Now when I said everybody leave, I didn't mean you, buddy. Like, I don't know how to cook. We've been through this. If anybody comes by or if we need a midnight snack. Also, you live here. Where are you going?"
and he just sort of
Just get back in there.
just sort of happily nods and turns around and starts heading back into the kitchen.
Same. Just same.
Fang just...
Alright, so what happened here? Like, last thing I remember, I was serving some people some drinks. We opened a few kegs of that Stone Drop Ale. The next thing I know, I'm getting woken up by you four. There's 3 dead guys over there. I'm pretty sure.
You're welcome.
And Ben, like, drags this gnome body out from the back and sort of just tosses him forward.
Fuck that guy. That guy was a jerk.
Well, look. You guys can't go killing people in my bar. That's just... like, rule 1, you throw them out when they get unruly. I appreciate it. I understand this is a general rule, mostly for you, Gwen, because, again, there was a reason that we had you ruled out as once per month customer.
But
I take full responsibility for this. I did start the fight. They were trying to rob you, though. They did drug the entire bar. But once again, I'm so sorry. So sorry. It was all my fault.
Yeah, no, this is, again, more of just like a future reminder. Like, this isn't a thrill kill bar. I understand.
Right.
I was being robbed and you guys stopped the robbery. Awesome. Like,
totally.
you guys, whatever you guys want back here,
And he points to behind the bar.
just whatever you want, just have at it. Except the Stone Drop Ale, because apparently that's not the good one.
Bad juju. Got
Yeah.
it.
I'd avoid that one in the future.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I don't know. I'll figure it
Dump
out.
in the river.
No, don't dump it in the river.
Yeah,
Why?
probably not. Sell it to an alchemist?
You could sell it as a sleeping potion.
No, the alchemist and the sleeping potion, I think, go hand in hand on that one. Like the alchemist, or like an apothecary,
Right.
could probably
Well,
do
look,
it.
okay, so, like, I walked in the bar, right? And
I'm with you.
everyone was passed out. Like, I thought it was just a really good party. Turns out, not. So these guys, like she said, started a fight. I just finished it, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
I
Jump
mean-
down and I go back to the back of the bar and get more drinks.
Yeah. And he just...
She
Alright,
was very useful in that regard.
So that actually did happen. You guys are corroborating or collaborating or coming together on this story. I don't. Big words are hard.
Yep.
Blake is just gonna nod.
All right.
Caelum's gonna nod.
All right. Well, did they say anything after? Like,
Oh
how
yeah.
many of them were there? Or
The-
4
the
here. Is that all of them?
Cheese duder.
What?
The cheese. The big cheese sent them.
Fuck is.
Let's hope. Hi, guys. Welcome. Once again, it's your old friend, the Indoor Adventurer and crew. You want to know what happened? Technical difficulties?
We don't know.
Who would have thought? Anyways. I'm trying to think of where we were, because that was just like a really abrupt stop.
So the dragon was attacking.
No.
We had just leveled to 20.
No,
You made friends with the dragon. And it was attacking.
He said he would give you 3 wishes.
Fang's ass just offered us room and food. They were gonna go make us food, and Caelum was going to talk to his friends.
He was gonna go ask mom and dad if it was okay.
Gonna ask mom and dad.
Yep. Yes.
I could go sleep over.
That's pretty close.
Alrighty. Sounds good. I have to lean slightly out of frame because this little turd really likes pets.
Again.
But the cat refuses to sit on my lap.
Oh.
I don't know why. We'll get to that point.
Get there.
But welcome to Cat Stream. where we play a lot of D&D and make friends with half-orc bartenders named Fang Zest. So yeah, he has offered you free room and board. Caelum, you were heading to the Leaky Ore to talk to your other friends who had gotten kicked out of Fang's bar, along with everybody else, except for the four of you, Zest and Huddle.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So, you exit the bar, and you walk down just several buildings. It's really not that far from Fang's place. But you just see this large ore kind of hanging down on a signpost that's just kind of like loosely swinging in the wind. And you can see water just kind of like pouring off of it, where normally in the squeeze, the roofs are so close together that any kind of rain or precipitation doesn't really get through. There seems to be just a hole in that kind of roof formation that just goes directly onto this ever wet ore that just sort of seems to be hanging in front of this establishment. Going inside, you look around, and it doesn't take you very long to find Farron, Mugwort, and Prescott as they kind of like wave you over and let you know that they. Mugwort tells you, anyways, we've scored 2 rooms for the night. As usual, you will be sleeping with me, Farron, Prescott. They have their own accommodations.
The people I met in the bar, they said they invited me to come stay with them.
Oh, nice, very forward thinking. So,
yeah.
They have extra room for maybe, some of your friends who otherwise have to sleep in this kind of shithole. And he points up to there's just like a hole in the floor next to you, and then there's another hole in the ceiling above you. And you can just see a guy's foot just kind of like swinging back and forth, dangling from it. So, like, if you have option for room and not this place, I would take that room. Why? I mean, he offered to let you stay, but why? Like, what? This have to do with you killing a guy.
Apparently, it's better for me to stick with them just in case we get questioned, so that we're all together. Because of guards.
Actually smarter than he lets on. It is a good idea.
Yeah. But yeah, I've never actually, had a sleepover before, so I wanted to ask you guys, like, as my guardians.
He's totally fine. I mean, you listen. Sleep over with that red-headed one? Is she there?
Yes. No.
Yes, go.
I don't know
even if she's not there. Even if she's not there, if I see one with the large axe or the small axe. She there?
Yes.
That's going to be an even better time.
I don't.
And that's not even when the sleeping happens, my friend. All right, go.
No, guys, why do you have to be like this? Why must you be like this?
We're adventurers. It's a life on the road.
That's not. I know what you're implying, but I don't think that's how it's gonna work.
Okay. That's fine. Just have fun, make friends.
All right.
Talk to more people. And then Farron comes over and just... Listen, Caelum. I think that these people are better suited for what you're looking for out of a life on the road. We can protect you, but then we kind of have to, sidebar some work, because I don't want to personally have to put you in a situation where I know that you're going to get hurt. That is entirely up to you, however, if you want to do that. However, if you're in my party, I will tell you no. I don't necessarily want to do that because I understand I understand that you have potential. And he puts his arm on your shoulder. And he tells you that potential needs to be worked. Potential needs to be grown. Right now, if we got a job to fight a manticore, right now, what would you do?
Tag along?
If we had to fight a horde of undead, what would you do?
Probably tag along.
If we had to go up against the gods themselves, what would you do?
Oh. I think you know the answer to that, Farron. You guys are kind of like all I have at the moment.
And that's why I think that this is a good moment for you to set out on your own. Because then with these new people, you wouldn't just be tagging along, you'd be making your own choices. Making your own successes, making your own mistakes, sure, but making your own story. And that's the part that really counts, right?
I guess.
I don't want to have to worry about you. With these people, I think I won't have to worry so much. Then Prescott walks up behind him. Here's 20 gold. He just tosses it at you.
Duh.
Listen, as hard as I have been on you, there is a reason for it, and that reason primarily being that I want you to be ready for when you go out against the world. Because that's what it's going to be, you and your weird gray skin, not like my beautiful porcelain skin.
I think
he kind of like motions to himself. Farron just looks at him like, why is that even? And Prescott just continues talking and doesn't even let him finish and just, listen. I'm doing this because I want you to succeed. So take that money, get out of here.
Thanks, Mom. And Caelum like hugs him around the waist.
Prescott like doesn't want to make eye contact with you, but he like gently pats you on the back too.
But in all seriousness, though, the things you guys have done for me in these last few weeks, like showing me the ropes of the road and stuff, like I can never thank you enough for that.
You don't have to thank us. Just, how about this? In a year's time, I want to hear at least one bard song about you. Do you think you can do that? Do you think that you can get the bards to sing your tale in just a year?
I can try. That's a tall order.
I know you can do it. And with that, Mugwort comes over and he offers you, he brings 4 drinks to the table this time. All right. Think of this not as a goodbye, but that's a good luck. He puts a drink in your hands, and then the rest of them all grab drinks as well. And then the 3 of them put their drinks together, and they wait for you to put your drink with them as well.
They clink.
To a life on the road. And they all kind of chant that together as they clink drinks.
I'll say it with them.
You know that this would be their ritual. So yeah, you clink drinks with them. And do you partake in this alcoholic beverage?
So Caelum takes a swig, coughs and sputters because he thought it was water.
And you see Mugwort just kind of laugh, his cheeks rosy red. Don't worry, Caelum. I'm sure you will be fine. As you were. And they kind of encourage you to go back to the Zesty Anchor to visit your friend, your new friends.
Yeah. After the goodbyes, Caelum makes his way.
Yep. So that is what you are doing right now. What is it that the rest of you are doing?
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
First off, you're a little quiet on stream. Can you up your mic volume in OBS?
Yes, I can. Huzzah!
Let's see.
I have done it. I'm sorry, S2WZA.
It's Waza. Hey, Waza.
Hey, Waza.
Ooh, thank you, Waza.
Thanks, Waza.
But yeah, that was my thing. Go ahead.
Yes.
I might be recounting a tale of the time I broke this dude's arm. Or no, I broke this dude's leg because we needed to make it look like there was a robbery that happened. And I was like, well, we can't go away from the robbery with everyone being unharmed. So I broke his leg to make it more believable. He was really mad at me. I don't know, man. But, I mean, we healed it. It's not like a huge deal.
It sounds like he made a sacrifice.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's it.
That is intense.
It worked.
I know, but like that place you robbed.
Yeah.
I've been there before. Like that didn't seem like an easy job.
Well, I mean, it was pretty good for, what it was. No big deal.
All right. Well,
Did we get food?
Yeah, no, he has brought out food and he is just kind of plating it to you. And there's an assortment of just kind of like your standard array of vegetables and meats. Like there's some sausage that's been cut up kind of finely. There is the vegetables are very much just like potato, pepper. In Cori's case, a hot pepper has been added to the mix, but it is very much a function over form kind of thing, where it seems like everyone just gets served these like one or two universal meals, and that's kind of just what they have. They're really good for what they are. As Huddle seems to know his way around a kitchen, but all things considered, like it's just kind of, I mean, it's tavern food. It's not like a fancy sit-down restaurant or anything like that.
Right. Okay. So what are you guys like? What are you doing? You said you want people to come with you, but I mean, I'm not that I'm looking for employment at this current time. I mean, it could be, but I don't know what you're doing. So.
Oh, certainly. Blake, you did have a job, right?
Yeah. And I'll pull out the first contract that we have that he picked up alone. That's an arborist who needs help with some of her plants who have gone crazy.
What was it?
This arborist. It was a he, right?
Yeah, it was a he.
He had some plants come to life.
Oh.
Needs them cleared out.
Just like chopping stuff. I mean, I'm good at that.
Pretty much.
What's the split on it? Are you guys like a unit where we'd like split it 50-50?
I hadn't actually thought of that.
Yeah, we're kind of new to this.
Paid for this, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, that's why we do it, right?
Sure.
I think we're just going to exchange a look.
I mean, why are you guys doing it if not for the money?
Chivalry, mostly.
Isn't that a dude thing?
I don't have anything better to do.
I mean, things must work differently here on the natural plane. But in the Feywild, chivalry is for everyone.
Oh, you're from the Feywild?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds wild.
It can be.
Is that why you're all like orange?
She just kind of like flips her hair and she's like, Oh, more or less.
Right. Cool. Do you have, like, magic powers?
Some?
Cool. Are you special? And she looks over at Blake.
I am big and scaly. I think that accounts for something.
I mean, that's like every Dragonborn. Is there something like, what's your, like, pest resistance?
My what?
Your pest resistance. That part of you that's, like, special and shit. I'm good at killing things. She's
your
orange.
Pièce de resistance.
That.
It's an elven phrase.
That.
I guess so. He looks obviously uncomfortable.
Alright. Well, are the cops coming? Do we know? Like, was anyone called? Because if they're not, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone is called, but as you kind of mentioned, like, were the cops called? That's when Caelum ends up, like, coming in through the door back in to the Zesty Anchor anyways, and Fang looks at you and just, you had 5 minutes left. And then he goes back behind into the kitchen to leave you four just sitting in his bar.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh, Caelum, hello.
So, yeah, got permission from the parents. I'm with y'all now.
Excellent. Do you want to trance in my room? We can trance together if you like.
No, I'm fine. I think I'll be around.
Hey, Caelum.
Dan, hi.
Live once.
I mean,
she's from the Feywild.
It's customary to share our trance visions together.
Do you know,
Yeah,
I've never actually... It makes it sound like we're about to do something a little illegal, like...
Nah.
I'm not sure I understand.
Like drugs. I don't really feel...
Oh, my
Gwen is just like...
I have so much to learn.
I mean, the lady asked you to trance with her. You gotta trance with her, right? Right, Blake?
She's just gonna grab, like, Gwen's head, her entire head. Just like, it's fine. Just you can do whatever you like for tonight. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
I'll trance with you, lady.
What did I get myself into?
All right, bitches. I'm tired and I'm drunk. If the coppers need me, I'll be in my room. I walk upstairs with a purpose, but I have no idea where I'm going.
Yeah, you make a perception check.
Okay. First roll of the night. Oh, that's not terrible. It's not great, but we'll call it an 11. Above
All right.
average.
So with your 11, you look down at the key that Fang gave you, and it says, it just has a 1 on it, and you look around and you can see that there is a corresponding door also marked 1. And you go inside, and it has a very large bed that you can hop into, but you also know from previous stays here that there is a small bed that is always tucked underneath the much larger one. So if you are not looking, like, if the thought of a large bed is too much for a halfling or a gnome, then they can have their reasonable size one. Most halflings don't ever take Fang up on this. And if anything, these beds are used for children more than they are actual customers.
I'm going on the big bed.
All right. Yep.
I just, like, sprawl out. Although I probably have a house here, right? Or like some sort of room in the city, but
yeah. You have a small apartment, but Fang's place is nicer than your apartment.
That's not saying much, is it?
No, I mean, he like, it's warm, It's above a tavern, so you know that you can just wake up and get breakfast and get food, and you don't even have to make it yourself or like go out and try and find it. Like it's more of a place of convenience that makes it better than your current stay. But yeah, so after Gwen, after you go to sleep, then that's when some city guard come by. And you can just see that there is a kind of tepid looking white dragonborn who just like peeks his head in. Just 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Is this Fang's place? Yes?
Yeah.
Then like upon hearing that, Fang just like leans his head out of the little flap and just, oh shit, they sent you. Yeah, no, this is my place. There was a what is it? A robbery attempt that was made earlier. Those 4, and he points to the bodies that are just piled up in the corner. Those were the guys that tried to rob me. I was passed out. It was these 3 that stopped it. There is a 4th one who put a stop to it. Gwen. And the white dragonborn just kind of tilts his head, looks off to the side. Gwen the halfling. Yeah, that's the one. She slumbers. Yeah, no, she's asleep. We got her real drunk, and she's upstairs, passed out. And you see like a little wave of relief wash over this dragonborn. Just, it's very good, very good. So I hello, and he just sort of like steps into the bar, and you can see that it's like this dragonborn isn't necessarily super brawny, but he wears just kind of like a tunic with the city guard emblem on it, but it has the signifying mark of a guard captain. And he comes in, and you see 3 humans, one of them kind of like yawning, and the other just kind of like moving his arm a little bit, and just, well, hello, my name is Skavix. I will be collecting information from the lot of you, if that's okay. I understand that some of you have had a rough night. So if you would rather, I can come back in the morning and we can talk about it then, or you guys can talk about it now. And as he says that, you see that these bodies are just kind of getting dragged up the stairs and then out of Fang's establishment. And like, there's some blood that is just kind of getting tracked, and they don't really seem to care. But this city guard is just, all right, so let's see here. And he pulls out a small journal and says, all right, so I suppose we should get started. So how, what happened here? Fang said he was passed out, and I know that some of the people in this bar that frequent this place often have a magical resistance, so I don't believe that a spell put people under. So what is it exactly, in your own words, that caused this?
Caelum raises his hand. Well, you see, when on further inspection of the drinks that were served out earlier tonight, it seems like some sort of narcotic was put inside of the Stillwell Stout. The brew that was provided.
He looks at you. So was this some sort of I believe Fang calls them uncaking parties. Was this one of those, or was Fang himself handing out drinks to every single member of the bar?
Oh, I believe it was. Oh, go ahead.
The former.
So an uncaking party. Yes, yes. And you said that it was the Stonewall Stout, or was it? And he points to a sign hanging up above, or was it the Stone Drop Ale? The details are very important for this kind of work.
I'm not good with alcohol. Turning to the other two, help me.
This
Well, we hadn't partaken of it, hence facing the criminals. Fang, and she'll like call over to the bartender. It's like, it was the Stone Drought Ale, yes?
And he's just sort of like hand facing down. The Stone Drop Ale. That is, I got it from my distributor. Normally, I have a guy who works for me on the docks. Well, not one guy, several guys. And he just looks like kind of nervous talking to this kind of scrawny white dragonborn who seems to be taking notes. And then Fang says, I got it from my guy. You look, Skavix, you might want to let go and talk to that guy about it. You don't need to get these kids involved in this. And then Skavix again just sort of looks at his notebook. Well, considering that you were unconscious and there are 4 dead bodies, I would say that these aren't necessarily children, Fang. These are either murderers, potential robbers who killed other people and then disguised those people as the real robbers, and now we stand facing the lot of you, or your story checks out. And he closes his book.
Insight check Fang?
You're not
Yeah, you can insight check Fang.
accusing us of any wrongdoing here.
14.
So you would know that Fang is telling the truth, but he's definitely nervous around this guy. For some reason, like Fang is like he's a burly adventuring man. He's a retired adventurer. He went on adventures and came back successful. There's nothing that would make Fang Zest scared, except for this apparent bureaucrat. Who seems to just be jotting down everything that Fang is saying, that you guys are saying, as well as just sort of scanning and taking in the room setting. And he again just sort of looks at the 3 of you that are still here, and lets the 3 of you know. So, what I'm to believe is that these people came in and drugged the whole bar just to try and what were they after? And then Fang holds up a bag, the bag that you guys had gathered from the man with the tiefling mask. And this investigator looks at it. Just alcohol. Well, I really see no further need to continue investigating this tonight. If the matter was just alcohol, then that's fine. As long as it wasn't anything important. And he looks at Fang again, and Fang just sort of like, this is important to lots of people. This is jade leaf. This is like top quality stuff, man. Like, what the hell? And you see the Dragonborn just kind of like raise his snout towards Fang and motion for the rest of the guards who are still like kind of kind of scrubbing up, and one of them is kind of like pointing a finger and casting prestidigitation to clean up blood smear that is kind of going up the stairs. And the Dragonborn then looks at the three of you again and tells you all, well, I'm assuming Fang's letting you stay here. That is a good idea on his end. So that way, if I have any more questions, I can just come and ask you guys. But if you have any questions for me, you can find me all the way at the top of the hill at the guards station. That is normally where I am. I would suggest not involving yourself in any murders while you stay here. I haven't ever really seen the three of you before, and you all seem very colorful, to say the least. Very vibrant, very bright. I'm sorry that your first day here had to turn out this way. But all I can really say is welcome to Shroudport. And he exits the establishment with the rest of the guards. And Fang just like, whoa. Okay. I'm gonna need a drink. Who else wants drinks? Anybody? Anybody? Just me? Okay.
I'm going over to Fang.
Okay. So yeah, Fang is like pouring himself a drink. He takes it real quick. Oh, forgot. Gotta pour one for Huddle too. He refills his own, pours one for Huddle, takes both shots, pours up a third, pours up another for Huddle, and then just pops back, hands one off. You hear glasses clink, and then he comes back out. And he has had just 4 drinks very quickly.
Oh.
That could have ended a lot worse.
Who was that
like
guy?
So his name is Skavix, as he let you all know. Thing about him though, it's the name that you know how you call somebody a name and you really hope they don't find out about that name. We call him Skavix Slaughterhouse.
Oh.
He doesn't really look like he's much of a fighter, but the reason he became guard captain is kind of because he cleared out an entire hold by himself.
That's very interesting.
He gets much bigger when he's mad. So I'm very happy he was not angry coming through here.
I don't see any reason why he would be.
Well,
we are, of course, innocent. If he's as good an officer as, well, he seems to be, then I'm sure nothing will go wrong.
Well, that's the thing, is like, so you know how sometimes people make you nervous because of a story that goes along with them?
No.
I run a bar for people such as yourself, but also people like the kind of people that you guys put down earlier tonight. I've been involved in a lot of investigations, a lot of questioning, and when that guy wants answers, he's usually gonna get them. So that's why it's very good to cooperate. However, gives me the willies. I really don't like him. So few times that I have been investigated by this guy, I get nervous and I say the wrong things, and he doesn't like it when people tell him the wrong things. But that's why he's guard captain and not just your average guard.
You shouldn't be nervous. He seems like an awfully nice guy, doesn't he, Blake? And Cori just kind of like turns around to the terrifying, like, lizard Grim Reaper character behind her and just smiles at him.
Yeah, just a peach. So how long has he been around here?
Oh, Skavix has been here for, I think, 20 years, something like that. He's been around a while.
Any others like him?
What? Dragonborn? I mean, it's a port town. We get them every once in a while, but none of them really stay. He's the only one who set up shop. At least made a name for himself in that sense. There are a few that run a little fishing company here, sell swords, make a killing here, if you get my drift. You know what? Maybe in light of recent murders, that's probably not the best joke. But people find ways to make money here. That's kind of how this port works. Why? I mean something to you, or?
No reason.
Okay. I'm not going to ask any more about that. I mean, you seem pretty friendly. A little quiet. I'm sure you'll open up, though.
He says nothing.
Fang just, you see him set down a shot glass in front of you, set down a shot glass in front of him, pours for the both of you, and while he's talking to you, he just drinks the shot glass that he poured for you. Like, he's just wanting to regain his composure. And he looks to the three of you again and just says,
all right, well, I mean, I live here, so I'm gonna get some rest. Huddle's here in the back if you need anything. He just sleeps back there most of the time. We set up some grass or something for him. I don't know what he sleeps on. Pile of blankets. He looks back. Yeah, it's a pile of blankets. I'm just gonna prop myself up down here. That way, in case anybody comes in tonight, just tell them to fuck off. But you guys are free. More than welcome to stay the night upstairs. I see see Gwen's already made her way. One of my bottles. That's okay. Okay. But yeah. Keys are over there. You guys can help yourselves.
and you see him kind of go up, and there's he just kind of like brings over this chair onto the stage, sets it down, and then just sits in it, puts a small blanket over himself that's like barely enough to cover his top half, and just sort of like tries to nestle his head into the nook of his shoulder.
Oh.
Right. I'll grab one of the keys. Probably like number 3. If
Okay.
that one's there.
Yeah. So yeah, you grab your key, and are you waiting for the others to join you upstairs, or are you just kind of like grab key and go?
I'll wait around.
Okay. Yeah. And so then Cori and Caelum, you see Blake stand up and grab his key, and he just kind of like looks back at you guys like, all right, we could still have conversation upstairs where there isn't a sleeping half-orc.
Yeah.
Don't wait up for me. I'm going to keep watch tonight.
Okay.
I mean, they could come back.
All right. And I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll wait a little bit in case Caelum wants to come, but then
Caelum like looks to like Blake, then looks to Coriander, then looks back at Blake, and he's like, "So okay, you'll be down here. We'll be upstairs. If they come holler, and we'll come. Okay, good night."
You'll know.
I'm
And
sure.
Coriander's just gonna sit down at a table.
Yeah. Caelum heads upstairs and then back downstairs to go grab a key, and it's like, I forgot to. Yeah. Good night.
She's already trancing.
Oh.
All right. So, yeah, you guys find Blake. You find your the room labeled 3, which is just across the hall from where Gwen is stationed.
Snoring.
Yeah, snoring louder than you thought a halfling could possibly snore. You would expect this noise coming from somebody at least 2 size categories larger, but it's just kind of like echoing. How? Respiratory problems. Bad. But yeah, you find your way to room 3, and Caelum, you look at your key, and it says 4 on it. And so yours is right next to Blake's room.
So yeah, I'll see you in the morning.
Shut the door.
Good talk. I
Okay.
think that went well.
Okay, sounds good. So I know that we've had a slew of technical issues, but I feel like we should give our players some bathroom breaks, as well as extra water breaks. So we are going to go on a quick, hopefully 5 to 10 minute break while we devour some food, go to the restroom, and take a general quick break. So until then, we will be right back with an absence of technical difficulties.
Hopefully.
Right. Bye, guys. Booge. That'll be our welcome back noise for this one, I guess. I really don't have a better option right now. I don't know. I thought about it. So welcome back to the stream, everybody. We're gonna hopefully pick up and resume where we last left off for the next hour and 15 or so. As we typically end our games at around 11:30 Eastern Standard Time in the PMs. As that is where several of our players are. So we like to be considerate of time constraints and time schedules. And I know that viewers also appreciate that, because then they can watch and still be able to go to sleep in time for work. So thank you all for everyone who has stopped out. Thank you for bearing with the technical difficulties stream, which, I mean, we're kind of the technical difficulties team as well, as that is what we do. But that's no worries. So last we left off, Caelum, Blake, and Gwen were all passed out in their rooms, or trancing in their respective room. And Cori, you are downstairs, also trancing. And this night doesn't really hold that deep in terms of like recalled memories that occur during your trances for both Cori and Caelum. These are more focused on Cori. Yours is more kind of remembering times of like feelings of a new beginning, like the first time that you were able to go to school, or the first time that you bested somebody in sword combat. These are very much triumphant firsts for you, and those are kind of the memories that you're focusing on. But those are more they kind of go past your own bodily memory and start recalling other lives that your old elvish soul has been a part of. There's a history that you have of a bardic man that had a wife and family, and a lot of this dream as well is kind of recalling some of the songs that he once sung about the sea, and almost like a dream. When you wake up, like, you don't really necessarily have a set song, like you don't have like the entire bar or anything like that, but you just have this faint memory of recalling these kind of sea shanties as you can hear the water splashing at the bottom of the port. And Caelum, your meditations are never, I want to say, pleasant. But that's what kind of makes tonight feel so much more special. And we will return to that once he gets back. But that's okay. We'll flash over to everybody else. So, Blake, your dreams, man, they're super sweet. You cuddled up with your stuffed animals and you're going for it. Like, you're just having a pleasant night's rest. You had to fight some people, but like, you know, it's not too bad. Yeah, you got your little werewolf plushie that you have just kind of curled up next to in your own room, awaiting the dawn. And Gwen, when you wake up, you have completely turned yourself around in bed, so that way your feet are facing where your head was, and your head is facing where your feet was, and you just like there's just like this pool of drool that is collected on the side of your face that like even the drool still just reeks of alcohol, and you know that yeah, you killed that bottle, but in a way that bottle kind of killed you. And so back to Caelum's dream, where normally nothing is ever going right. So the dreams that you have, or at least the lives that you meditate on, seem to be behind a barrier of what could only be described as a barrier of fluttering feathers. And whenever you try and meditate past that point, it is just these very black fluttering wings. And you have dreams of just being on your feet and then being flung through what feels like vacuumous space, where there's no real reasoning or logic behind the direction that you find yourself spinning in until you open your eyes into a very bleak, very mundane world. You have other dreams, or you have other recollections and meditations on this time, where you remember standing in a large group of other people clad in similar style armor, just sort of training. And in this sort of training memory, it kind of bleeds in and out from your current memory to your past memory, as a lot of the techniques that Farron had taught you for survival purposes on the road are similar to the techniques that you learned or had learned in past lives. So, for example, the thing that kind of brings that forward is more focusing on the fact that you shed first blood in the fight with the orc man. And you can kind of get this memory of ducking down in front of somebody else and bringing up your spear to protect them, much in the same way that you recall the events from earlier in the evening, but they're just kind of bleeding back and forth. And then right as you thrust your spear upward and you feel it sink into that form, that's when you wake up from your meditation, feeling well enough rested. This is one of the better meditations that you've had since leaving the temple. But for your purposes, you still were able to get a full night's rest. It's just that your dreams still, as much as you like to believe that you have that control over them, are still very much wanting to go their own way.
It's like in the morning, as he wakes up, like he thinks on it for a second, reaches out for his shield and just like pulls it close to himself.
And on that shield, as you kind of like hold it closer to yourself, you feel just a very warm presence from the shield itself, and it kind of gives you a sense of comfort, as best that a shield can.
Protect me from my nightmares.
But yeah, you wake up several hours, or come out of meditation several hours before Blake and Gwen both do. And so you can hear Gwen just snoring up a storm, and Blake just sort of silent in his room. You're not exactly sure if he also meditates. Like, you haven't really met many Dragonborn, but you've heard of them. He's like, you met two yesterday and you didn't think that you would ever meet two in the same day, kind of thing. Like, Dragonborn aren't necessarily in this campaign setting, they aren't like a sprawling empire or anything like that. They are very much few and far between.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can either spend the rest of your night in your room, you can exit into the hallway, go downstairs, hang out with Cori. You can kind of do whatever.
Yeah. After the meditation's done, he'll just head on downstairs and check and see what's going on.
All right. And so you come downstairs and you see Cori just coming out of her meditation.
She'd probably reach for her sword as soon as she hears like the creak of his foot on the stair, and then she'll be like, "Oh, it's just you, Caelum. Good to see you." And then she'll like kind of reach forward and take what looks like a mechanical canary in a lantern, and she'll kind of like take that and shove it back into her pack.
Head tilt to the side as he walks over. Good morning.
Good morning. Did you want breakfast, or it's still a little early? We tend to rest for a shorter period of time than other creatures.
Yeah. He's just gonna like sit at a table and I guess, yeah, just sit there, kind of like drumming his finger on the table, like.
So my vision tonight was about a, and she's just gonna like explain exactly what her vision was about. She's, I think I was a bard in a previous life. I'm not sure. I'll have to see more to know. And then she'll just kind of like sit in front of him with her hands folded, kind of like in a "your turn" gesture.
Oh, I don't actually remember what I dreamed of last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it tends to happen.
I'm sorry. Is that a Shadar Kai thing? I'm not sure.
Well, what's a Shadar Kai?
Well, it's an elf, darling. It's you.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I mean, it's us, really, in a primordial sense. Wow. We've got a lot to talk about. How do you not know?
Well, if we're gonna get into tragic backstories, I grew up in a temple and I really was sheltered is the operative word. Yeah. A sheltered child.
All right.
So I don't know much about out here.
You didn't grow up among your own kind, is what you're saying.
No, I did not.
All right. Well, God's blood. I couldn't tell you that I know much about Shadar Kai myself. I just know that they exist. I know that they are a part of us, and we won't get into Sehanin's gaze and what happens after death, but
Okay, that's fair. So enough about me. How about you?
Well, Do you know what an eldrin is?
No.
Okay, an eldrin is another type of elf. We come from the Feywild. A long time ago, there was something called the Sundering, and all of the elves were kind of scattered among their own planes, and that's where elves come from. Sea elves, dark elves, Shadar-kai, Eladrin, all of us.
Caelum, I want you to roll a history check.
Sure. Hey, one of my skills. Wow. 24.
So you...
Oh, wait, no. 23. Sorry.
From your time spent in your temple's library, you have a general idea of what Cori's talking about. Like, you've heard of a Feywild before, and you know that within the Feywild, lots of creatures exist, and there are, as the Feywild is kind of a foil to our own world. So in the Feywild, there are things like Fey goblins and Fey elves, and the kind of thing that Cori's kind of describing is one of these kind of like Fey elves, where they just kind of exist there. And when Cori mentions the Sundering as well, roll another history check.
Oh boy. No. There we go. 18.
So with the 18, when you hear the Sundering, you remember about you remember hearing about the event. And the books that contained a lot of the information regarding that were locked deeper inside the deeper inside your temple than your head priest was willing to escort you to at your given time. But you were able to pick up one book about it, and that book, along with kind of talking about the Feywild and branching off into small one-sentence paragraphs into other planes, like the plane of fire. This place is just a plane of fire, and like just lays it out super broad term. The information that you got on the Sundering based on that was actually a small paragraph compared to the rest, which basically stated that a group of peoples long ago attempted to find a home for themselves, and in doing so, tore holes from other dimensions into this one, bringing in portals to places such as the plane of fire or the plane of wind or the plane of water. But one of the places that they also pulled from actually is where most Dragonborn came from, is that they were taken from a separate plane and kind of transplanted here. And the reading that you got was more about Dragonborn and less about elves.
I do remember reading something back at the temple about the Sundering and, different portals going to different realms, that sort of thing. It was very broad, It
was a generalized history of the Sundering.
It was like history of the world for kindergartners.
All right.
I at least know a little bit.
And of course you know about Corlon. She just kind of dismisses that.
Who? Oh no.
You just ask the paladin who they worship. What do you think is going to happen? Do we want to cut to like 3 hours later with the rest of the party walking downstairs to Cori still in the heat of and that's when Corlon and his four great party members.
She's knocked over a table and she's drawn diagrams on it, and like she's gone like back, and she's worn like a path in the floor from pacing.
Caelum has also knocked over a table, but he's hiding behind it as he's bleeding.
So yeah, Gwen and Blake, you two hear a commotion downstairs, and you both kind of like exit the top rooms at the same time, look at each other, and just hear this like this very frantic, fervent pace, like da 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 like just person just rambling downstairs.
Are you following me, Caelum?
And that is the phrase that pierces from the stairwell up to the top. And Blake, you would know this as somebody has asked Cori about the deity that they worship.
All right. So I take a step out. I hear that. Take another step back in.
Is it bad stuff? I have my axe.
In a sense, sure.
All right, I'm like in my undergarments, not like it's like
Yeah,
like
casual wear,
dress, kind of. Well, I guess she wears pants. Anyways, it's classy, but not. It's not like. So I go running down the stairs. What is it?
And you just.
Back?
I'm so glad to see you. I was just in the middle of telling Caelum about the greatest warrior that ever existed.
Over
the Tempest?
Oh god.
Close, but not quite.
Oh?
Can I make a stealth check to sneak around?
Yes, make a stealth check,
and then
get
slid in here.
Yeah, and then what did Gwen say was the greatest warrior?
The Tempest.
Okay, Caelum, when you hear the phrase "the Tempest," you can also roll a religion check.
I've got 2 d20s for this. Okay, the stealth check was a 3 minus 1, 2.
Okay.
And the religion check is a 17.
All right,
if
so
this were an anime, Caelum is the character with the expositional inner monologue.
Oh yeah.
This is me.
I've heard of this.
So you would know the Tempest as the as one of the god of storms. There are typically two, well, not typically, but there are two deities that call the storms their own, and one of them is a little less savory than the other. As there is Tempest and Talos. And Talos is more about like the storm of war and fighting amongst each other. But then Tempest is very much a welcome to the motherfucking sea. And like you do not want to mess with Tempest in that regard. And that is who Gwen is referring to. Yeah, and so you have just heard 3 hours of Corlon's the greatest warrior, and then a gnome, nah, it's this other guy.
I'm sorry. Did you just call me a gnome?
Sorry, halfling.
Ooh,
my bad.
Someone's gonna lose their ankles.
I got my knees together. That's good.
You like those shins?
So I'm like, you start going off, and I'm just like, is there coffee yet?
But there can be. I'll just go start up that coffee. We're gonna have to fight at some point. Mortal Kombat.
What? You want to fight me?
Honorable, of course. We'll use blunted weapons, but we'll fight. And then she'll go make coffee.
All right, I like her. She can stay.
As you mentioned to a Fang who just looks at you with like bloodshot eyes.
Oh God. Dude, why don't you go lay down, man? We can handle it from here.
This is my bar. I'm gonna wait till Mirth comes in, and then I'm going to bed.
All right, cool.
I have been listening for 3 hours. 3 hours.
Did you learn anything?
Nope.
Good.
Not a damn thing. I had my own monologue going on. It was one phrase. Shut up for 3 hours.
Do you want to punch something?
I just want to sleep.
Oh.
But
I was gonna let you punch me, so but it's cool. And I go walking past.
I no.
No, just no.
And he walks back into the kitchen, and Cori, when you walked back into the kitchen, Huddle was curled up on a pile of blankets and had just kind of like shrunk back into a shell. He seemed to have slept through the entire thing. No props. So like you go in and you kind of like tap on the top of his shell and you see his arms and like stretch out into like it's kind of like morning stretch. And he stands up, like tries to touch his toes.
Oh no.
Pops his arms up and then just kind of like waves them up and down a few times. And then just looks at you, wipes some sleep from his eyes, and he points to a container with some brown powdered substance in it.
Oh, here, I'll get that. And she'll grab it.
And
6 feet of elf.
Yeah, so he'll take that from you, and then you see him set a pot on top of a what looks like a stovetop. And he opens up a little door underneath it that seems to just have a small smoldering fire in it from the night previous. He goes over, puts some wood into there, sets this pot on top, pours a little bit of water into the pot, and sets down what looks like cheesecloth on top of it and puts the black powder and then just kind of sits.
Dang.
And just does a big snapper turtle-y yawn. And when you do, you see that this dude is just shit tons of teeth in his mouth. Just a ridiculous number of teeth that all snapper turtles have. And his little like blue pointed tongue just kind of like quivers a little bit as he closes it.
I don't know whether that's endearing or terrifying.
Yeah. Cori's adoring face does not falter whatsoever.
And he just looks at you and just kind of like motions for you to like, it's okay, you can leave.
Oh, okay.
And then Fang like pokes his head. We're gonna need the. Nice. This is why we keep you around. And Cori, you can just see his the bags under his eyes are just like duffel bag size. Like they're just huge. This guy's tired.
This poor guy.
He got drugged, drank himself into a stupor to try and fall asleep, and then you talked about Coralon for nonstop, like 3 hours. He's doing okay.
Wings feels bad, but Cori is completely oblivious.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so then Fang comes back out and just, all right, so we're gonna get some coffee to just start the morning. There's 3 of you. Does your friend sleep late?
Once things quiet down, I'll start coming back down.
Okay. Yeah, so then you come back down after things have quieted. And so at that point, Fang would have come outside and just, all right, I'd appreciate what you guys did last night, but some of us need to sleep. And he looks at Cori. Just,
I don't.
I gathered. Yep, that's fair. But over the course of the night, I did have a thought. Something you guys were saying yesterday. Something about like an alchemist or apothecary taking this booze to somebody who could possibly do something with it. I kind of want to go a step further with it. I want to know what the fuck was in this. Like sleep
should take
aid.
some for like science and stuff.
Oh no, it was. Raise a hand.
Yeah.
Well, I sort of looked in. Well, kind of know a little bit about I read a book once, and I think what I remember last night, catnap. Does that ring any bells?
Oh yeah.
Fang is going to try and remember, but he has a disadvantage because he didn't sleep well.
Poor Fang.
Yep. And he, when you say catnap, he brings his hand up to his chin, just.
Yeah, you know, I have heard about that, but I didn't think that was in the city. That seems more like a not here thing. I'm really tired. I don't really know the best.
Yeah.
Look.
We do have a client that is an arborist. We could bring it up.
Yeah, I wouldn't mention to him about what's going on. That guy's a real dick. He'll probably just be like, "Oh, Fang, you and your whole bar got drugged."
Right,
no,
right,
I don't
want
to deal with that.
You have a thing against him. Don't worry, we won't bring it up.
I do know somebody who runs let's say an oddities store. She's a little she's a little personal in terms of getting real close to personal space.
I'm not following.
Do I know who this is?
Make a history check with advantage.
Yeah. That was a 2. That was a lot better. History. Oh, jeez Louise.
How much?
Sorry, I was 13.
Okay, 13. So you would know of several different shops throughout the city, but only one place calls itself an oddities shop, and that is Macath's Oddities.
It's
Do I know anything about her?
It is run by a blind, red-skinned tiefling woman with jet black hair who has a little assistant that follows her around, who is named Scruff.
You mean that tiefling chick?
Yeah, I mean, she's a lady, you know, like she's a stand-up dame.
I mean, sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's nice. She's Mirth's second cousin or something like that.
Yeah.
That's how I got Mirth's rec for this job, is that she was new in town, and Macath offered a place for her to stay as long as I gave her a job. So, but she's been good. She's been a solid employee.
Yeah.
Well,
she's a solid lady too.
They both are.
So how much are you gonna give us of this stuff?
She'll probably need at least a few wineskins. You said it was made with catnap?
Yeah.
That's good. She'll probably be able to figure out at least where it might be coming from, or where it came from in general. If we know the place where this thing was grown, then at least check shipping records or something. I don't know. Look, it's early and late, which is my combination of my least 2 favorite times that I am experiencing right now. So,
all right, cool. So breakfast and then adventure?
If that's what you guys want to do, then yeah, call it an adventure. I think of it as repayment for me. Oh wait, no shit. You saved my bar from robbery.
Hey, you let us keep some of that catnap shit? I'll call it even.
I speak for the whole room. Like she's not
Okay.
even questioning it.
I don't really know how I feel about it, but currently I just feel tired, so I'm gonna just go with that one. Yeah, you
Cool.
you can keep a wineskin. Just give
Yeah.
her 2 of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And at that point, you see Huddle come out of the back, holding 6 cups of this steaming black liquid. This is very dark brown. He sets one in front of Fang, one in front of Caelum, one in front of Gwen, one in front of Blake, and then he goes to set one in front of Coriander, and Fang just puts his hand up, just morning person. She's a morning person. She's good. It's good. And Huddle just and sets the cup down in front of Coriander before returning back to the kitchen.
Bacon! Bacon!
He looks back to you and just
Please.
I love that guy.
gives a
He's
thumb.
awesome.
He's good people.
He's a person. Is he a person? Are we
Hey.
people? Are
I
halflings people
like
too?
to think that we
And he looks around.
sometimes we're more human than a lot of them.
Fair enough.
Still life on the open road, huh?
Mm. Yep. So, y'all sleep all right, I guess?
No.
Not you, sir.
And when you ask that, you hear the double doors open behind, and standing there is the red tiefling with the white hair that was there the night before of Mirth. She just looks down at Fang. Well, Jesus, you look like shit. He's like,
No, that's not my name. Why do you call me that? I don't get it.
she's just, Fang, just go to sleep.
It's like, but I'll like it better in the morning anyways.
And he just kind of like lumbers off, taking his coffee with him. And then Mirth comes down and she sits next to you guys. And, or I guess, yeah, Fang will have left his coffee and she just comes down and picks his up. Goes into the back, comes back with a little bit of a white powder, and she sprinkles it into her coffee cup. Just I like it a little bit sweeter than he does.
Oh.
If you like anything sweet coffee, morning people. So what the
I
fuck?
like things salty.
Well, you
Oh,
came to
mine's
the
all
right
gone.
place. So, is there anything that I can necessarily do for the lot of you? I don't know what you were talking about with Fang, but he seemed very, very tired. So
I thumb over to the the elf.
You know, elves.
I mean, I don't really know elves all that much other than the ones that come through the bar. Yep. Lots of people are talkers.
Right.
Is that what happened? She kind of looks at you, Cori. This one said that.
As far as I know, he was asleep the whole time.
Well, all right then. Anyways, well, Fang's asleep. Huddle's still in the kitchen. Oh, I guess he would be there. I saw him there. But, what are you guys still doing?
Oh.
I'm here for my shift.
I suppose it is time for us to leave now, isn't it?
Bacon.
And Huddle comes back out with a tray, just a small tray of bacon, and sets it down in front of you guys. And he just nods, grabs a small handful, and just puts them all in the craw. Like, just not even like single strip, just
Lovely.
And he just kind of nods and goes back into the kitchen.
You know, come to think of it, I've never heard him say a single word in my whole life.
He doesn't really say much. If anything, I don't think I've... Maybe once when we got really shit-faced.
What'd he say?
I don't remember. I was shit-faced.
All right, well, we need the skins of, we need to grab the skins of the catnap ale.
Is that what was in there? It's catnap.
Yeah.
Oh.
We need skins. Does anyone have a wine skin?
Oh, we got road skins. Don't worry about that. And Mirth will go over and she'll start filling one up from the keg that's there and just, you said 3.
4.
All right, 4 it is. And she will fill up 4 of these wineskins full of the Stone Drop Ale.
Did you guys want any? I'm sorry, I'm used to working by myself. Kind of spoke out of turn there.
Okay.
Suppose that'll be enough.
For personal use.
I don't really know why you'd want it for personal use. You take 1 drink and then next thing you know, you're fast asleep.
Yeah, we don't do that.
You
No.
sort of just like sit there for a while and like...
I meant for like other people. What was that?
That
like
and Mirth will just kind of like look at you when you say for other people.
Yeah, just like other people. What?
No, what were you doing with your hands?
like the pulsating, like the trance.
Is that why you got? Did you meditate together last night? Is there something we need to know?
No, what? What?
Hey, I mean, we're all adults here.
You look like a bunch of kids to me.
Your mother was a child, and I walk away.
At some point, yes.
I'll never understand you.
Okay. So yeah. So Blake, you get 2 wineskins of Stone Drop Ale. LB, you will get, or sorry, Gwen, you will get 4 of them. And then Caelum and Cori, would you guys like any of the Stone Drop Ale as well?
I mean, so long as we've got enough for the purposes, I don't see any reason to grab any more.
Okay.
My body's a temple. I'll pass.
Suit yourself. And then you see Mirth kind of like take a glass bottle full of what looks like some sort of like whiskey or bourbon, and she pours it into her coffee, sets it back down. Here's to wherever the hell you find yourself. She ends up taking a sip of her drink and then like waves goodbye as you guys find yourself on the street again.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
And early, it's pretty early in the morning. Like it's around 7:30, 8 o'clock. So you can see that the market has just started to open up. And there are people sort of toting their wares from place to place. There are others that are standing on like the street side in front of their shop, just kind of like boasting what they have as well. But I don't believe you guys actually asked directions to Makat's oddities. But with your directions or with your history within the city, Gwen, you would be able to lead them there. And you know that this oddities shop is very close to the port front, as well as the small part of the city that exists behind the waterfall. And so after about an hour and a half, 2 hours of you guys walking, just kind of back and forth, weaving throughout the city, you find yourself standing in front of a ramshackle home that seems to be much taller than it is wide. just sort of stuck in between some other homes. But clear as day, you see hanging from a sign that says Macoth's Oddities. And it is spelled Macoth, and then oddities underneath it. But the O in oddities looks like an eyeball. And then you can see what look like a few other just kind of other arcane-esque looking things around it. Like the A or like the M that she used is a very flourishing M that kind of like goes into a loop for where the O is. And you can see that there is like a kind of like a bottle colored green glass that is on a little outcropping in front of the shop, and then a door next to it that has a little viewport. But the viewport is more towards halfling gnome size than it is a standard heighted creature size.
Before we get up to the door, I'm just going to turn around to the group and kind of stop abruptly and say, so she's a little different. Like, just she's a little handsy, so just make sure that, you know, you're comfortable with that. She is blind, so, like, be sensitive, okay? And I knock on the door.
Okay.
So by handsy, how handsy do you mean?
Oh, buddy.
And so when you knock on the door, you wait, and you wait a little bit more, and it's been about 5 minutes, and you don't hear any kind of footfalls or leading up to like a slide open for a door. Mm-hmm. Do you knock again, or do you continue waiting?
I'm gonna try the handle.
Okay. So yeah, you try the handle, and right as your hand reaches the knob, you see a little slat open up, and then two eyes kind of peer directly at your level. Can I help you?
Yeah. Sorry. We were sent by Fang, Zest.
A friend of Fang! Why didn't you say so? And the door handle, you hear, and then get pulled inward, and there is a hunched over little man, roughly around your height. But he has mutton chops that extend past where his ears normally would be, and you can see that there are kind of dog ears protruded on his head. And he has an underbite that kind of sticks out with these uneven teeth that seem a little bit smaller for his mouth. And he has an arm that's just kind of like curled up into his fingers that are off to the side like this, but more towards his chest. And the other, you see, has like fur sticking out from the side. And just, come in.
Is this the Scruff?
Yes, this would be Scruff.
Hi, Scruff. Not hiding my disgust. Just keeping.
And he just sort of like rocks back and forth a little bit. Just, hello. Would you like to come in?
Someone else do this. I can't do it. Like,
absolutely.
To the back of the group.
Cori just saunters on in there.
All right. Oh yes, come in. Is everybody coming inside? I'm told to watch the door.
Yeah. We're all gonna come inside.
I'm gonna shuffle behind Blake, putting myself behind, like, interposing Blake between myself and Scruff as we walk in.
I accept.
All right. So yeah, you guys go inside of this shop, and as the last of you come inside, you hear the door just and Scruff just and then you hear him just sort of like scamper off to the side, and looking around, it is very cluttered. It's very close. in terms of how the shelves are structured. And looking around, you can see that there's what looks like the toe of a large creature just sort of in a pickle jar. There is another larger jar that has a brain in it, with the spinal cord still coming out from the back. And that brain just sort of seems to be like pushing up against the glass, like it's trying to push it. You can see that there is a large feathered creature. You guys can make a nature check as you approach this large feathered creature.
I would love to do that.
4. Okay.
14.
12.
14.
All right. So the 2 14s and the 12 would recognize this feathered creature to be an owlbear. But the way that the owlbear is posed is that it's sort of like in the classic T pose, where its legs are planted on the ground and its arms are spread out. And you can see that the arm, like the fur and feathers have been splayed out and separated to kind of present this hollow chasm inside of this owlbear, where it looks like somebody might be able to step inside of, if that was so their curiosity. And you continue to look around this place, and you see just an assortment of magic tomes that sort of seem to be placed like one side up and then another side upside down, and another has like the pages facing outward where you can't even see the binding, and other things are sort of stuffed into drawers, and it just seems like a hoarder's home, almost.
Caelum's like eyebrow twitches, staring at all the books like, this is such a mistreatment.
And you can see as well that there are vials and beakers of just like this light bubbling liquid, and the entire place seems to be illuminated with these hanging lanterns that are on the wall that seem to be just shedding this nice greenish flame that just sort of like coats the room in this very nice dim lighting. And as you guys continue on, just sort of walking through, roll perception checks.
15.
20. Dirty 20.
18.
10.
Okay. As you guys all progress, you hear a sound that sounds like somebody inhaling, just. And it starts off kind of quieter. And then you hear that same sound again, much louder, just. There's 1. There's 2. No. 3. 3 and a half. 4, really.
Hey,
I recognize one of you.
what's up?
And then from behind you, you turn around as again, like you hear this sniffing sound just kind of reverberate through this place. And as you turn, you just see leaning up against, or not even leaning, but just sort of like using this black oaken staff to kind of hold herself up with a black like bandana over her eyes. You see before you a very attractive tiefling woman who has a bone necklace that she's wearing. She has just a very loose fitting fabric that goes over her shoulders and covers herself sensibly in the front. But she's not like wearing long sleeves or any sort of elegance. And she's wearing a dress that goes down to her legs, and She just clutching the staff. You see her. Well, it's very nice to have new customers. I will admit that. Now, Scruff was telling me Fang sent you, and she seems to just kind of be like moving her field, what would be her field of vision over all of you, like just kind of like scanning you up and down, scanning up and down. Although she's not able to see out of this cloth.
Hey.
Hello.
Ken.
It's nice to see you, and you've brought such wonderful friends.
Yep. Always bringing you the best.
What was your name again, dear? It's been so long.
Gwen.
Gwen. Nice to meet you. And what about you? And she kind of tilts her head towards Cori.
Hello.
What are you?
I'm Coriander.
You smell like falling leaves. Sweet.
Well, that's very kind of you. You smell.
It.
I'm sorry, I can't smell you from over here.
Kind of smells like trash.
Okay. she pretends not to be able to smell her. I can't quite smell you from over here, but I'm sure it's lovely.
And who else do we have here? And she kind of like hobbles forward a little bit, getting closer to Caelum. Ooh.
Hello.
Well, I have not smelled that in some time. Ravens. Very peculiar.
I'm Caelum. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Caelum. I am Makath. And she puts her hand out, but it's like off of where a regular sighted person would motion
Yeah,
towards
I'll
you.
just like navigate over and.
It's a pleasure, I'm sure. It's been a while since I've seen someone like you. A long while. But that's all right.
Okay.
I like visitors, and these are visitors I can really enjoy. Oh. She kind of tilts her head looking at Blake.
I am uncomfortable. Both in character and out of character. I am very uncomfortable.
Little bit of dust. Leather. Oils. Death. Now, can I guess? I am awful good at guessing. Are you a hunter?
Yes.
I do love a good riddle. Now, a hunter who do you mind? And she puts her hands up towards you, but like towards your face area.
I'll like kneel down.
Okay. And she just begins to touch your face, and you can feel her fingers kind of like touching your teeth and moving your lips and like kind of touching around your nose. Sorry, this is the only way I can get a really good clear picture. I just
do what you need to.
These horns. Is it very nice? She's kind of like just touching the sides of your head, just feeling the outlines of them to get a good mental picture. And then she kind of like touches the back of your head and feels around a little bit, and then just leans up a little bit. Why? feel you're, we're alike, I'd like to believe. A little bit older on the inside than the outside.
What?
Oh, you're a hunter. Someday you'll understand, I'm sure. But for now, enjoy the time that you have. She just sort of like pats you on the shoulder.
What do I smell like?
You smell like the blood of others, alcohol, and oh. Mm. Mm. I don't know how to describe that other smell, which in its own right, think of as a compliment.
Sweet. Cool. All right. Why are we here?
I'll pull out two of the wineskins.
What is this? She takes the wineskin from you. Is this a gift? She starts to unscrew the top.
Don't, no, please don't.
She tilts her head. Why?
Cori, I think you better explain.
Oh, why don't you tell us? I'm fairly certain you can figure it out for yourself.
Do it. Right. Okay. So a bunch of people drank this wine ale stuff at the tavern last night, and then they passed out, and then people tried to rob it. So we're trying to figure out what it is. We were told it was cat nap, and but that's it. Yep.
She kind of chuckles to herself a little bit when you mention catnap. Whatever will the children think of next?
Right.
Well, catnap is just, I've heard it be used as a street name. Normally, I like to administer it for those who have had problems sleeping, to help them get to sleep. But if somebody put that in some ale, well, it makes sense that your bar was a little bit under the weather last night.
Oh, just me. What did we need to find out? Something about strainers? Caelum.
Hello. Yes.
You remember things? What are we doing?
Just trying to find out where it might have come from based on the strain of plant it is.
Oh.
That.
This I can do, but I will need some time, at least a day. I have a distilling process where I can kind of separate the ingredients out a little bit. And maybe that can give me a better idea. Right now, it's a little too diluted to really make any proper calls or assumptions. Is there... You said Fang put you up to this. Yes?
Yeah, he asked us to come here. Yeah.
I'm glad he remembered our deal.
Oh.
Well...
Yeah. Insight check.
Okay, yeah, you can make an insight check.
It's not bad. Insight +0, 17.
All right,
Wow.
so with your 17, she appears to be telling the truth. Where it's not like she's trying to necessarily buy more time to like, oh, I'm gonna put them off the trail or anything like that. Like, this seems very much like she might have already had another process going on that she was in the middle of, so she can't exactly put that down at the moment.
Right.
But she is willing to help you as a favor to an old friend.
Okay.
So if you come back tomorrow, then I'm sure I can at least have a general direction of where to send you.
Cool.
That'll give us some time to go and check on the arborist.
The huh? Who?
What?
The arborist?
Other job.
Right. Sorry.
I mean, it would be nice to eventually be able to pay Fang for our rooms.
He offered them to us for free, so.
Yeah, for now.
That's so kind.
But it'd be
of
wrong
him.
to take advantage of him.
Well.
What a gentle heart he has indeed.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a look at it one of these days.
Well, and on that note, I am
I'll be not bye. I can't think of a way to say see you around or see you later without saying see you. I'll see you later.
It was nice meeting you as well.
We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully.
I am very excited.
Me too.
Now, enjoy your time. But, yes. Come back tomorrow. I need to look through a few things. Make sure I have everything the way that it should be.
You don't need anything else, right? Like for this, you got everything you need here?
Oh, yes. We can figure out a more suitable payment tomorrow.
For us to pay you?
How? Favors for favors, I'm sure.
Oh, I thought we were the middleman in this transaction.
It depends.
On
if you would like to initiate your own deal or initiate your own bargain, really. I have a lot of things in this shop.
Dominus.
Okay, well, think about it and see you later.
I will see you all shortly. And while you guys continue talking on the outside, I need to take a quick break for a second. I will be right back.
All right.
Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I forgot how weird she was.
Is she doing that on purpose? Like the whole "I'll see you later" thing?
Oh, it's a metaphor.
But
you can see someone without truly knowing them. But like, common is such a limited language. In Elven, we have like 5 different ways to say the word see. And I'm sure what she means is to truly know someone rather than to, physically see them with her eyes.
Right. Well, in Giant, when you say you'll see someone later, you're basically saying like, better not turn your back on me or you'll get stabbed, sort of. It's a rough translation, but I don't know. It just seems more simple, like, don't turn your back on me.
So what you're saying is that we should just assume that if you're saying something in Giantish, it's a threat.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like some of those common speakers that they're like, everything you say sounds really angry, but it's not necessarily really angry. It's just a lot of like garbled. I mean, like, I could speak it for you, but like, I mean, it wouldn't make sense, and 2, I'd probably just insult you because that's just how I am.
Summer speak. Got it.
Yeah.
All right. So, what would you guys like to do now
Stab the party. What?
Stab the
party. Gwen, you.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like you might be the only person in the party who might know where this is, and I'm take out the contract that I got. That I hope has the address of the arborist on it.
Yeah. The address that was given was 2 houses or 2 estates on the left after the turn. You can't miss it. there was no specific address that was given, but this kind of vague address was what you have. And the letter, like the stationery that this is on, is kind of a gold leaf. It is not necessarily just like average parchment paper. It has a nice shine to it. And so Gwen, make a insight check. As you look at this piece of paper.
That's 8.
Okay, so you know that nobody in the lower or mid districts of town would have ever thought about using gold sheeted paper. So this is probably from the Lookout district, okay, which is towards the upper layer of Shroudport, towards the entryway.
Okay.
And after Gwen kind of explains that to you guys, Caelum, you remember that as you were coming, Caelum, Blake, and Cori as well, you guys remember that as you were on your way into the city, that next to the guard station, there was another gate that led into a area that looked like it had much finer housing and just much finer housing, better landscaping. It looked like that is where the fancy people lived, whereas everyone else is kind of wearing their same clothes for the 3rd month in a row. So yeah, you make your way to the northern part of the city, having spent a few more hours, all in all, from leaving Fangs. By the time that you get there, or at least to the front of this gate, it is around midday. And like midday, 1 o'clock, after having set out at around 7-ish. And you, there's a guard just kind of standing post outside of this second gate that leads into the Overlook district. And he looks at you and just, got any business then? Oh, no, you never do. You never got business in here. And he looks and points at Gwen.
I'm all business all the time, baby.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, but actually this time, Dragon Duder.
I'll hand over the contract.
He reads it. That's some really vague directions. That's not even...
Right, yeah.
So, luckily, there's only one award. Like, he lets us all know that he is an award-winning arborist.
Right.
All the time. Sten, yeah. No, I know where he lives.
Yeah.
I know where he lives. So, honestly, though, like, kind of on the nose on the directions in this. So if you go down that way, and he points, the road splits off into a left and rightmost path. Go down the right path. It's going to turn right again, and then it's 2 estates down from there. So really, I mean, you can't miss it. There's like 3 estates total on that row, and he's number 2. Yeah, I don't really know. Bad fertilizer. You didn't really say anything about that with the city.
Oh man. Maybe we shouldn't have shown you this. Like, grab it slowly away from him.
Yeah, he kind of lets it fall. He's more just like, I mean, normally. Well, just let us know if you guys can't take care of it. I'm sure he probably has a reason for not contacting the city guard that he pays taxes to take care of this sort of thing.
I'm sure it's all legal.
Oh, no, look, hiring adventurers is a very legal and it grosses a lot of money for Shroudport. It's good business. But, like, I'm on city guard. I just stand next to this gate all day waiting for something to happen, and then something does happen, and then I just get to watch you guys go along.
Gwen just walks away. She's totally done with this conversation.
Yeah, this guy seems more kind of complaining about the fact that he never gets any good work, and you guys are like, that's nice, and
Bye.
maneuver past. So yeah, you follow this road, and looking around, you can see the people of this part of town not only are dressed a lot more fancifully than others, but you can see that they also have very stylish haircuts that aren't just like somebody took a shear to their own head, but these have they have a lot of style, they have a lot of pomp. Some of them are like multicolored, and they all just seem to be like commenting on each other's rad haircut as they go about their business, or people aren't making a very big deal about it because they both have fashionable haircuts, but more talking about like, did you hear that Susan's husband got the so-and-so? Like, oh my, and like they're just talking about haircuts. It's really weird. Gwen, this is like, okay, maybe there's a reason I never came to this part of town. This isn't what I want at all.
No.
And you make down the right pathway, you make another right, and then 2 estates down. And the first one is several hundred feet wide. Like just like not the house, but like the property line that has like a nice gate around it. It seems like this little gated home. I mean, the home isn't little, but there is still a gate around it. And then going to the second one, you can see that there are these large hedges that have been grown around it. And looking up into the entryway, you can see that there are 2 topiary-shaped animals, or like animal-shaped topiaries, not the other way around. That would be really weird and kind of gross. But yeah, so there are these 2 large beasts that are just made of plant that are set on either side of this large red double door. And you guys can approach, and looking around, you can see that there are flower beds after flower beds after flower beds, and each one of these like make nature checks for you guys as you admire the flowers upon your passing.
Clearly, this man is an he grows plants. Arborist.
Oh, that's a 2 for me.
Okay.
5.
So 2, a 5.
12.
Okay.
6.
Okay, so
They're flowers.
everyone who didn't roll a 12, so not Caelum, are just looking around, and these plants seem borderline outlandish. Like they are multicolored and larger than you thought that they could possibly be, or growing multiple buds that seem to be forming some sort of pattern. And it all just doesn't really make sense from plants that you know. Caelum, you, through your books and through your study, you have seen there to be talks of ways to combine plants through a sort of grafting process. And that seems to be kind of what this guy has been doing, is that he is combining plants to make larger, greater plants.
Oh.
In order, or like pollinating different kinds of plants to get like a rose, but the rose has like blue on the inside that seems to just swirl into the middle. Or you see that there is there's a large sunflower, but rather than having it be the traditional yellow style of sunflower, you see that it actually has a ripple of green throughout the outer line of it. And they all just seem to be like differently colored, different textured kinds of plants.
Huh. Interesting.
And so, yeah, you guys continue onward and approach this giant red double door.
I start talking Gwen's ear off about horticulture.
Okay. Great. Thank you for the lesson. Next time, TLDR, man.
He's taking this part of the plant and combining it with this part of the plant to make a new plant.
Plant sex.
Yes.
Cool.
Good talk.
So is there what's the gate look like?
So
Did we walk through the gate?
Yeah, you guys walked through the gate, and it seemed to have just been wide open. And looking at the top part, the bars of it were standard metal bars, but kind of with a separate metal piece coiling around it. It looks like thorns and vines that lead into flowers that are at the top of this gated bar. So it looks more like just a large thorn bush made of metal than it does necessarily a regular style gate like other people throughout the city would have, or that you've seen anyways. But yeah, it seems very, very much that this guy's entire layout is plant themed, and you can see kind of climbing up over the side of this estate is just one very long creeper vine. Like it's a lot, or not creeper vine, but it's like a oh god, what are they called? Wisteria. It's a wisteria tree where it kind of is just growing up over the side of this building, almost looking like it's trying to swallow the building, but you know it's just the plant. Like that's just kind of how it grows, is forming itself to the place that it's next to. And I think that is where we are going to call it for the evening, is you guys approaching this red double door. Thank you to everyone who stopped by and stuck with us through technical difficulty stream.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we are still trying to figure out the best way, or at least I'm trying to figure out the best way to not get dropped frames, and to also provide a good viewing experience for you guys. But let us go through our players as we begin our sign-off. So, to my left, Caelum, about yourself, where we can find you.
Hey everybody, my name is Justice on the interwebs. You can find me at Twitter at RJustice282 or Twitch at RJustice282, where on my Twitter I tweet about nerdy things about the, what did I say, subterranean strongholds and airborne reptiles.
I like it.
Working title.
Working title. It rolls off the tongue though.
Yeah, it'll catch on. We'll workshop it. So then beneath you, Gwen, a little bit about yourself, where we can find you.
Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. I have a Twitter. You can tweet me, and I might see it. And I'm here.
All right, excellent.
So there's that.
All right, so next up, Cori, where can we find you? What do you do?
I'm Wings. I do art. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I also do an adjacent doodle stream if you're into that. That's it.
All right, and then last up, our boy in black, Blake, where can we find you?
Hey guys, I'm Connor, or Cyberwolf1201 on the internet. It's spelled weird. The links are in the doobly-doo. If you're on Twitch, maybe it'll be in the YouTube description.
It's always there.
You can also find me on Twitter at Cyberwolf1201, where I also tweet about the kobolds and catacombs. Wait, no, that's copyrighted. Never mind. And other nerdy stuff on the internets. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Cyberwolf1201, where I stream video games that I play very badly, but I talk about the lore, so it's all good, and it's pretty fun. On Saturdays, you can also find me on twitch.tv/ProRestarter, where I'm doing another game where I play another character. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing.
All right.
There's trauma there. And yeah.
All right. Awesome. All right. And finally, I am the Indoor Adventurer. I am the DM for this game, if you have not gathered that already. I have a YouTube channel where you can find me at youtube.com/simpleandkeen, where I talk about either game design videos or I make game design videos. I make history videos about tabletop RPGs and D&D stuff. I also will post the VOD for these videos there. And you can catch me on Wednesdays at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, where I am going to start doing what I like to call creation stations, where I'm going to be playing a video game for hour and a half, and then afterward, using the magical powers of D&D Beyond, I will try and make a character from that game into a D&D character. Last week, we did Shovel Knight, which was really fun. We found out he was a 11th level character. He was 7 levels in fighter and 4 in ranger.
Nice.
So we kind of just figure out stuff like that as we play, and it's a pretty good time. But until then, we are signing off. So thank you guys all again for stopping out. Thank you to everybody who's hosting, everybody who again stuck with us through these awful trials. But until then, we will see you guys later. All right. Bye, everybody.